All right, guess what we are doing today? We are taking our boxes and making small junk journals. And so how are we going to do that? We need 3 sides. So we're going to take our mini boxes and we're going to go ahead and tear off the tabs where they open and they close. And we're going to take all of our medicine boxes, all of our small individual size cereal boxes. I even have 2 playing cards boxes that we are going to make into mini junk journals. And what's a junk journal? A junk journal is like a diary. It's usually a handmade, homemade book where we upcycle and recycle to create a beautiful little book that we can write in, we can do our artwork in, and we may share them with others, or we may keep them as our personal books that we look at like a diary 10 years down the road, 20, 30 years down the road, and say, oh, I did accomplish those goals, or I didn't, or oh, wow, can you believe my thoughts then? Or wow, how my art has improved, or how I've gotten away from that. And I'd love to pick that pen, that marker up again, that paintbrush up again, and do some more art. So we are just taking these 4 sides, deciding which side we want to get rid of. And then we are either using our paper scissors, not our fabric scissors, and cutting that piece out to make a little booklet form, which these boxes are going to be our covers for our junk journals. And so again, I have been collecting these boxes for probably a couple months now, when I can remember. I had some soap boxes, but those have disappeared. So I think those did end up in the recycle bin and I didn't get to salvage those. But you want to take any small boxes. We'll do our big journals later out of our big cereal boxes. But now I wanted to play and make some mini ones. So that's why we're tearing off the sizes, creating it down to a book form, deciding which end we want to keep, which end we will rip out for that fourth page. That'll be the outside part of our junk journal where our pages show. And this one, because it held a bottle in it, it has some glue and some excess cardboard. And I'm hoping I can take this out. Looks like I cut off the wrong side. Might have been easier if I cut the other side, because it just does not want to pull away from that. All right, so let's just cut this off. You can always use that reinforcement on the spine, so that's perfect. There we go, our 3-sided book form. And I hope you can see these. Let me move these back into view here. And with our Toucan Sam here, tearing off, cutting off our side. And we've got our 3 pieces we need for that book. And our deck of cards. Small, we'll use the scissors. So, what I want you to do is start saving those little boxes that you come across, those little pieces of cardboard. Don't throw them away, don't recycle them. We are going to upcycle them and make beautiful little junk journals. So we are tearing these down into the 3 sides. And if you will, we can go ahead and say I'm mass producing these, because I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 little junk journals that we are going to be making over the course of the next week. And I'm just happy to have you on the first day when we begin. Yay! And again, sometimes it's easier to rip, sometimes it's easier or quicker to cut. It all depends upon the size of the box and what you're comfortable with. And this time we're going to cut out, nope, I was cutting out this side, right? Cutting out this side. Because that box inside of it may or may not be easier to get to. And again, we can rip it out. We can just cut off those pieces that get in our way. Seems like I should be able to use that somehow. Don't know. Let's cut it off. And maybe in the future we can decide to use that as a pocket or a flap and keep it. But for now, I've got all 7 of them cut out. We're going to go ahead and throw these pieces maybe into the blender to make paper out of. We will see. All right. Okay, and we are at our ironing board. And I've just turned on the iron. And we have different fabrics that we have the double-sided sticky back on. And we're going to go ahead and usually audition it, but for this I know I want these fabrics. So I'm going to use the pieces that fit best to the box and go ahead and iron them down. So we're going to just put this on here and start our junk journals using fabric on the outside of our books. We're going to cut it down to size. Looks like this size actually fits this other one perfectly. So I'm going to use that. We're going to put it on the inside and the outside of our junk journals. So we can do this technically and measure it all to size, or we can quickly lay it out, cut it out, because we're going to be putting lace and ribbon around the outside edges. So we don't want our sticky back to get on our iron or any other surface, but we do want it to cover our book. So, and that looks just about perfect to cover up that Zantac box and make that handmade homemade journal with some ribbon and lacing around the outside. I think that's going to be awesome. So very excited about that. Okay, so one piece down. Let's go ahead and cut the other piece for the inside of the journal. And if I had this on our rotary cutting table, we could rotary it real fast across. Wouldn't have to use our scissors. Might be a little bit quicker, but we are okay. Don't have to be 100% precise here. Just don't want to have that extra side getting ironed to anything else. Okay. Let's go ahead and iron this down. Move our box pieces out of the way. And it does take high heat for about a minute. Now you use the instructions on your double-sided adhesive, whatever instructions they offer. And see, it doesn't cover the whole thing. That's okay. We're using the ribbon and the lace on the outside. So I'm okay with that. That's going to be fine. Again, what's fun about this is you can use your scraps, upcycle, recycle. You don't have to cut the pieces out specifically for this project. These are your mini junk journals, and they are perfect to use up those additional scraps that you have. And voila, we have our first book cover. And let's do the other 6. And again, when we have fabric that it depends upon which side is up, right, and which side is down, we want to make sure that we have that upright and downright. This one is, believe it or not, too small for a full journal. So we're going to go ahead and use it on our minis. We do have a full journal that used the other part of this, and this is the scrap left over. So let's clear off a couple of pieces here, lay it out, see what we've got. We've got our Fruit Loops boxes, and that might just be perfect to cover these front side, back side, and have enough for maybe the card deck too. So I'm kind of excited about this. And it's gonna take 1.5 on these, whereas the card deck, I think these little pieces are so perfect. Look at, they are so perfect. Okay, so I think we're gonna use our little card deck on these. Let me pull this over so you can see. So we're gonna have that. It's just amazing. So we're going to do the front and the back of our card deck with these little historic simplicity pattern dolls. Yay! Front and back, front and back. Cut these two off at the bottom. Okay, let's go ahead and take the paper off of this. Oopsie. So funny, I didn't know these came apart. Paper off the back, just cut it, pull off the paper. Sounds like we've got thunder and lightning going on outside. And then we'll trim off the excess. Which side do I want to call excess? Let's call this side over here excess. Yep. These really do look now like meat scissors, don't they? And get them hooked back together, or we'll grab another pair. There we go. All right, very excited. These two on, make sure everybody is upright and upright. Come on, down, over, up, over. And about a minute to heat that down. Flip it over. Beautiful. Whoop, whoop. And it's hot, but we're going to take ribbon and lace around the edges, and we have a miniature simplicity junk journal started. Okay, so that's 2. Let's do another. Okay, and we have cut out 2 more pieces to cover this box, and we put a scissor slit in the back, so let's go ahead and pull this off. Sometimes the paper comes off easy, sometimes you've got to gently coax it to come, but you definitely don't want to hurt this double stitching on the underneath. Let's do the same over here. Sometimes you can get this in one piece, sometimes it takes several tries. Set that paper to the side. And now we want to make sure that our box, doesn't matter on this whether it's up or down, but it does matter that this is upright with this. So you want it upright, and then you line them up. And again, the edges we're going to cover with ribbon and lace, so we don't need to worry about them. And we get them laid out fairly straight. And then we're going to take our hot iron and we're going to heat that up. Again, it does take up to a minute to permanently set. Some of your things say permanently set on the light steam, but again, use the instructions for your double-sided sticky back fabric paper that you're using. And this kind of shows through a little bit, not that much. It's really not going to, I haven't found it in the past to be too much of a bother. If it does bother you, we can put a pocket on top of that. We can sew a pocket right on top when we do our edge trim. So we've got that one done, and let's go ahead and pull over another one and get going on it. And we have cut out our compass fabric to go over our Fruit Loop cereal. So we are going to go ahead and tear off the back. We've taken one slit, and from that we can pull our finger in, pull off this paper, ball it all up, take it to the trash at once. And we're going to do that for 2 pieces. Just like that. I didn't make hard through enough. And this is fabric that we've ironed on the sticky back. Okay, and I don't think the compasses matter. Some are upside down, some are upside right. But look, one piece is too long, so I don't want that sticky on my iron. So we're going to go ahead and trim that off a bit. Some of it had the sticky back, some of it didn't. Okay. Put our cardboard right in the center. Iron that down. We're going to have ribbon and lace on the sides. I think I keep telling you because I got to figure in my mind which ribbon, which lace I'm going to get out to audition to put around it. Because that's my big curiosity. Not sure which we're going to use yet, so look, I did a little bit off kilter there, so we'll trim that up in the process of making the book. But look, we've got the cover all done. I'm loving these. All right, so I went ahead and I cut 2 more because we had 2 boxes the same size. So let's go ahead and pull off the paper for that iron-on sticky, and then we just got one box left to do the same to, and then we can start auditioning the pages that go inside of the book and cutting them to each single size and going from there. But here we're at least doing the covers, which I'm very, very excited about. Okay, and I don't think it matters which side is up, which side is down on these. So let's lay them out. They seem to be a little bit smaller on this book than the other one. Don't know what I did different. Sorry about that. But again, we're going to make it all up when we do the ribbon and the lace around the sides. That's what I might do, a little bit of lace around the sides. Very exciting. So many, many, many different options. So many options. Ooh, that's hot. And we have our book there. Again, all that's going to be covered up, so not to worry about that. I did cut the fabric the wrong size, but again, not to worry. We do cover that up fully with the ribbon and lace that we put around the edges. And I've got a couple of scraps left that we have to decide which we're going to use for this. Let's see if this is long enough. This is long enough. So let's trim this one up and use this one here. And that's the newspaper print again. I love this. Okay, this is perfect. We'll cut off the side because we don't want the selvage on this project. If it was covered by lace, that'd be fine. And we need to trim it down about just over 1/4 inch. And again, these are leftover scrap pieces, so I am good not measuring and being absolutely precise, because again, all of the edges, a good 1/2 inch all the way around, gets covered up by my ribbon and lace. So I don't need to use it all. And what I don't use, we just put back in the bin for more projects. So I might have something with too much white on it that I want to cover up, and that I can just iron down and make perfect. So for this little box, I'm gonna go ahead and iron down this piece. I'll put this on the other side, making sure that we have right side up. I think my iron might have started cooling off because I had it upright too long. Want to always make sure that you've got a good iron because did I take the paper off the back? Ha! Hilarious. That's why it's not sticking. It's funny, I couldn't even tell. Okay. That's hilarious. Okay, so we're going to let that one cool a little bit before I take the paper off of it. And this one, we're going to go ahead and stick down. And then we will pull the paper off the other one once it has a couple of seconds to cool off here. Yep, cool enough, not going to burn myself. We've got our paper scissors, because again, this is paper backed. We don't want to wreck our blade of our scissors by cutting it on this. So this is right side up, turning it over. And this we want right side up going on here. Okay, and now we have the inside and the outside of our book covers for our mini junk journals done. We are going to take these over and start on the pages. And I am so excited about these mini books that I did want to show them off again before we go over to the other table, because I am just really, really loving these covers. Look how cute that deck of cards. That's going to be such an incredible mini junk journal. I am so loving these. All right. Well, very good. Great start. Okay, so we are back with our covered books. And the next step that I want to do for these miniature junk journals is go ahead and cut out pages to go on the inside. And looking at just the first two that are identical or very similar in size, because they're coming from the same type of box, I want to probably put 3 different signatures in here. So I'm probably going to work with, I don't know, 15 to 20, well, I guess it's got to be rounded numbers, say 20 pages in each of these, and that 20 on the front, the back, and then have the spine, and then the other side is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 pages. So here's the first one we're looking at. So if I get 20 of these shapes to go inside of the book, we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 times 20 is 80 sheets. So I'm looking at maybe 80 sheets or 80 pages per signature, 20 sheets. So first of all, what we want to do is take a ruler and see on the inside of our book, back to our spine, how large we want them. Looks like 3.5 by 3 and, what is that? 6/8. So maybe I'm going to make my papers maybe 3.25, leaving some space there, by maybe 3.5. Leaves a little bit of on the up and down there. So I want about 3.25 by 3.5. So 3.25 front and back. So we're going to make 6.5 inches by 3.5. So that doesn't work exactly well for our 12 by 12 pages. But when we're looking at papers to go inside of our junk journals, we want to use our tea-stained, paper-stained scraps or book pages that we have pulled out of different books before we've spared them, out of magazines before we throw the magazines away, and make pages out of these. So we're upcycling, recycling. I also like to have doilies used inside. And then, of course, any scraps that I have, I like to reuse them again and again and again until they're all gone. And what little tiny pieces are left, we're going to make some paper, homemade paper out of. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So I have this. We want to make sure that the paper we use is thin paper. We don't want to use cardstock for this. So I have picked out some smaller pages. Lighter pages, with the pink being the darkest that I thought we'd use. And then probably using some yellow and a couple of beige pages mixed in with the different magazines and books that we have spared. So we want to cut our paper approximately 6.5 inches, which is going to use up the bulk of this, by 3.25, I believe we wanted, by 3.25. So that's 6.5 to be folded over. And I've already cut one out to make this quicker, so we can look at this. And you can use your paper cutter. My paper cutter seems to be not on the table at the moment, so we're going to go ahead and use our paper scissors and get rolling with these pieces. And since I'm using paper scissors, I may or may not go ahead and use the whole, we wanted 6.5. So we're going to go ahead and start cutting out our paper. And again, these are, we can tear these or we can cut these, whichever you prefer. Tearing them, just hold the ruler next to it. And again, we want to be roughly, and the paper starts pulling because we're pulling it up in the air to do our pages. We're going to go ahead and mix these in with our magazine pages. So even though we're cutting them together, they're going to be mixed with the other pages throughout, and we want 3 different signatures. So ultimately, we want 3 times 20, about 60 different sheets to fill up just one book. And if you see, we have 2 books that we're doing here. So I want to fill up both of these books. And again, any of our scraps we hope to go ahead and use again. Actually, I could take these and make miniature pockets, but I might do a little bit larger pocket on a couple of those pages. And it is a miniature book. Not everyone puts pockets in a miniature book. I like pockets anywhere and everywhere I can get them. So let's go ahead and take this stretch right here. Looks like we're going to have this left over for the smaller books. Move our scraps out of the way. Now see, instead of cutting this off, I'm going to go ahead and make these into pockets. So let's go ahead and put our pages aside and use the one example for making our pockets. And then we'll grab the sewing machine to pop those up. But the pockets are going to be just like so. So in our junk journal, it'll be affixed in the back. And then we'll have a pocket here. I'll sew down this part, sew down this part. We can tape it, we can staple it, whatever medium you want to secure it. I usually don't put washi tape here unless it's on top of threads because the washi tape is removable and pliable. But again, you'll have a pocket here, just an open page, and then a pocket over here. So that is kind of exciting. So let's go ahead and this whole little grouping here, let's go ahead and get ready for that sewing machine. When we put the ribbon and lace around the edges of our book, on the front, back, and insides, we are going to go ahead and sew those pages down. So that's going to be absolutely exciting there. So I'm really excited about this project because I have not made miniature junk journals, and we are doing that today. Woohoo! And I think I like the white coming up on the page, but let's try these with a color coming up on the page. We're just going to take those roughly, zip it across, pull this out, fold it in half. So on these, we're going to have the full color on these two pages, and then the pockets, I think that's beautiful too. I don't know which I like best. So excited. We're going to put all of these together, and then we'll set them aside. And then let's go ahead and do some magazine pages and some book pages that are tea stained and coffee dyed as well. Okay, so just a couple of pages we've done so far that we have the pockets on, and we'll spread those out between the different signatures in both of the books so that each of them have the different variety of things. And we want to go ahead and take our sampling here. Well, the pages that we've already made, just to show you, we simply divide these up a little bit so the pages will bend and fold easier. And then we have those pages. So we have the pages. And we can journal or paint or draw on each pocket or each side. And then in the center, we're going to bind this signature into the book, which I'm excited. We'll show you that real soon. Okay, so let's go ahead. We've got those pages ready, and let's do some of these pages. And again, we're not going to waste anything, so even though you see me cutting pages off, we're going to be using these, so no, they're not going to waste. And I do like the different textures to paint on and to do different drawings, stickers, magazine clippings. And see, so we have started these pages, and they are just, whoopsie, did those wrong, didn't I? And they are ready to go ahead and put in our book. We'll put those pages over there, and we'll pay attention to how we cut this next side. Goofy me, what have I done? This is backwards, and this is, so we want the bindings all the right directions. Now, these are lined up perfectly. We will go ahead and use our template. And again, this is easier when you don't have your cutter. If you have your rotary cutter or you have your paper cutter right there, just zip these with the measurements that I've told you, and then fold them all together, and it'll be a little bit quicker for you. So we have these pages, and we're just simply going to mix these in with those pages after we get some of these done. Now, I want to separate these by sizes. I don't want to do the notebook paper at the same time that I'm doing these pages. So let's put all of these pages writing side up that match And we're just simply going to fold these in half. We're going to pop our template on top. And we're going to cut these down to size. And again, none of this paper is going to go to waste. I do have a bucket and a couple bags with my scrap papers in it that we are going to make into homemade paper. I have a blender specifically for paper. And we wet it, we soften it, we put it in the blender, mix it all up into pulp, and then we lay it out on some screens. And whoop, these are a little bit too short, but I think I'm going to use those. Look how beautiful that is. I like that edge. So let me try and get that edge here and see if I can just rip those papers up. Hopefully you can see me. And we're just going to tear those so we've got some rough edges, because I really love the torn look in my junk journals. Let's move all my excess paper over to my pile. Okay, and I have these pages torn. And again, they're a little bit shorter, but that's okay, not to worry. And again, we're going to mix those up with the other pages. And let's see if I've got any notebook paper left here in my stack of papers. Pull these out. Okay, these pages are very similar in size. Right side up. And I'm not seeing any other notebook paper in my stack. Oh, that's a ready-made paper for a bigger book. Look at that. I've sewn it on. And that's actually fabric I've sewn on with a belly band. So literally anything you do is great for a journal, but this is a much larger, and another belly band. This is a much larger for one of my bigger journals. I don't want to hurt that for the smaller one. And it looks like I don't have... I'll have to grab another stack so I have more notebook paper. But let's do these for us real quick. And we're just, oh, look how beautiful, beautiful that turned out with the coffee staining. And if you have not watched one of my coffee staining videos, please, please, please go in, watch one of my coffee staining videos. If you're a paper lover, if you're a scrapbook, or junk journal enthusiast, I urge you to go ahead and do some coffee staining on your papers. It really ages them so nicely, makes them look so, so nice. Sorry about that, I bumped you. Okay. And I think we're going to take this lower piece, instead of making the smaller pages like we did last time, we're going to put this over to the side for one of the other journals, a different pile. And then I want to show you how I make doilies. So let's go ahead and put the ruler down here, tear up, so we've got some torn edges. I really love, I hate to lose this part of tea staining with that really rough edge, because that to me is just gorgeous. Absolutely love that aging look. Okay, so we've got these pages ready to mix and match. And let's go ahead and take our doilies, and I'll show you how we do our doilies. Then I'll do the one piece of paper here. So we're going to separate, oops, is this separated already? So this is one doily, and we're going to fold that in half. And then I'm going to take it down the center fold here, and I'm just going to cut. You can tear it, but I find cutting easier on the doilies. And we're going to take that rounded edge, put it inside of our book page that we've cut out. It's that 6.5 by 3.5 size. And we're going to just trim the doily down. We're keeping those scraps, remember, we're going to use those to make more paper. But I have that cut down, and I just love the look of the doilies as a page in the junk journal. So that, to me, is just gorgeous to mix these up in the junk journal signatures as well. And these scraps we're going to hold. Don't know if I'm going to paint with those or make paper out of them. But let me go ahead and maybe grab another 2 doilies, because I have the 2 different books with 2 different signatures each. So that's going to be a total of 6 signatures. We can definitely put a couple more doilies in here. And they are sometimes really stuck together. And if you find yourself cutting 2 instead of 1, that's just more bonus for that junk journal. So that's a perfect thing to do as well. Okay. And cut this roughly down the center. Line those up okay. Oopsie, pushed it back. More important to line up on the back than it is that side. So let's do that. I may trim off the bottom. I may leave it like that. I think I'll trim a little bit because I did get that cut sideways. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut these doilies. So that's 2 of them in half. And that, just imagine that in a book. Isn't that pretty? Yay! Okay, so we're going to mix all of these pages up. Let's just do 1 piece of paper. I hate doing 1 alone, but that's what we're going to do. And I don't care for the little dots in the book, the little notebook pages. So we're going to cut that part off for now. I wish I had more of those here to show you, but I will grab more out of my tea staining stash. And I'm not going to show you all of the books, but we're going to go through quite a bit here. So after I get done with a couple of signatures here, putting these pieces together, we'll jump forward so you don't have to watch me do all the pages. But I do want to see how I put these together. So I'm grabbing a stack of those beautiful, fresh, brand new pages, and I'm going to mix and match these with different pages to create my signatures. And sometimes I take the paper and I turn it the opposite direction if I want like 2 colors facing each other. So see, we open it here. We have the yellow facing the green. Then we have this. Let's put in a magazine or a book page. Do pristine sheet, and we'll do our notebook paper. We'll throw in our stencil. We'll put the beige towards that. Throw in another magazine. We'll put our notebook page. Maybe we'll put a pink towards that. And not 2 in a row. I'm good with that. 2 book pages here. Do I want 2 book pages together? Let's separate them with a green sheet, and then another magazine sheet. And I'm feeling like I'm probably getting this stuff far enough. So let's see if I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 with a doily, 15, 16, 17, 18, right side up, 19, that's a smaller one, and what do I want to finish it with? A book page. Let's go with a solid. We're going to put a pink one in there, and that's 20. So that is about as tight as I ever want a signature. That's especially in these little journals. And then I can quickly, if I choose to, I can trim these off. Usually I choose to trim those off after I have bound it, because we're going to move that around and things. So that's how I make one signature for the inside of the book, and it looks like we can easily have 3 signatures, maybe play with the idea of 4 signatures. So just with the pieces I have in front of me, let's go ahead and put them together. Create one more signature. I think that's 4 sheets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Throw in a doily 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and I'm going to go ahead and cut some more solid pages. And of course we want to do these sewn together before we bind that journal. So we're going to throw some of these in, but I don't want to separate them till I sew them. So that's 16, and I think I want, let's throw a couple book pages in here. 17, 18, 19. And let's put a doily back here. So that is 20. So I may take 1 or 2 of those out and put in these. But again, that shows you we've just made 2 signatures. I'm going to make a 3rd, and then we'll decide whether we want a 4th or not. But I'm thinking probably 3 signatures in there, because that's looking really, really nice. Okay, and we will be right back. I'm going to make a few more signatures. So I'm auditioning some different ribbons or lace to go around the outside of the journals. Not sure which we're going to do yet. Since these are miniature journals, it's hard to decide how wide we can let the ribbon or lace be around the book, not to detract from the book. So we're just auditioning some different lace and pieces. I want it frou-frou enough for our hands, but I don't want it overwhelming either. I'm worried about having too much. I'm also worried about not having enough flare, but I do like the ribbon to go on all sides, and I'm just not sure how I'm feeling about the different colors, the different lengths. I wish I had this in about 1/4 of the size that it is. Kind of leaning towards this, but I'm still not feeling it yet. So I think for this first one, I'm going to use the white lace. Okay, so I have put white thread in both the bobbin and the top of the machine, and now I'm going to start on the bottom of the junk journal, and we're going to the bottom outside, and we're going to start going around the entire book, both inside and out, with the ribbon. And then we'll make our determination as we go what we want to use for the other junk journals. And I'm going to put it on a wide stitch. And I'm going to turn myself over to a zigzag. Have the width of the zigzag relatively small to fit the book and the lace, but the length larger because we're going to go back both on the inside and the outside. So we'll take a look and see how that looks and how that goes. So lock in that stitch. And again, this is kind of a very exciting, fun experiment that we're doing with the junk journals in miniature size, because I've never done one this small. I've always wanted to, and very excited to go ahead and be doing this now. So let's pull me away a little bit. Hope you can see. And we'll go up the other side. And I'm needle down, foot up, pivot, bring my lace around so I have one continuous piece. I have not trimmed the lace off yet. And I really kind of wish I wasn't using a lace, but for the size of the journal, I want it to be comfortable, I want it to be frou-frou, and yet at the same time, I'm limited because of the size of the journal. I don't want to overwhelm the book. So I'm kind of limited in the amount of items that I have. Maybe it's a great reason to go shopping. But since I usually do the larger junk journals, I'm just a little leery about what, and I want the needle to be on the outside. So we're going to back stitch here, needle down, foot up, pivot, bring it around to the last part, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut it off about a 1/2 inch past where I started, so it's going to have a little bit of an overlap there. And then we'll turn the junk journal over. We'll start it a 1/2 inch down further on the back side so we don't have as much bulk in that area. Okay, now the first big reveal, raising my needle, pulling that up, cutting my threads, and I'm loving it. I'm actually loving this. Is looking incredible. I'm thinking maybe I don't even need it on the inside, but on the outside is just absolutely gorgeous. So I'm feeling really good about this piece. So let's think a second. Do we want to go ahead and put it on the inside or just the outside? I think we go ahead and do the inside on this one. It's our first. And then we can decide on the future ones whether we just want it on the outside or both. So let's go ahead and put it on the inside too. So let's get back down here to the sewing machine. And we're going to start a 1/2 inch further. Pull my lace back up here. And get that all under the foot. Pull it up, pull it back. And then we're going to knot that thread. And you might want to raise your feed dogs because it feels like the lace wanted to stop at first on the feed dog. I don't always use the feed dog. I like a lot of freehand sewing. But it felt like it was up there. All right. And the first row. Apologize for the bounce. Pull the ribbon off the spool a little bit more. And let's go. It is a much more complete look. But again, I don't want to overwhelm the journal by having the cover be more than the pages inside. I want the pages inside the junk journal to really be the star of this mini junk journal. And one more stitch, needle down, pivot. Okay, last side. Pivot, and then we're coming back to our starting point here. And again, just like the front, we'll go a 1/2 inch further and then trim our lace so we have that overlap. Some excess threads there. Same this way. Okay, and the second big reveal. We'll trim our threads. Oh, What do you think? I am kind of impressed with this. The lace looks more like a wedding or a baby, but I am still loving this. I am still loving this. I think we'll make different designs. I got a lot of threads to cut, but we'll put different ribbons and lace on the others. But this first one, I'm pretty impressed with. Okay, that's great. Okay, I think we're going to try the second one using this blue lace and see if that's enough around the edges. We're going to do it on the inside and on the outside of the junk journal. So I'm hoping that'll be enough to cover up the words, really make a finished look on that edge. So let's try that and see what we think. Okay, and I'm going to try this, still using the white thread. I could switch it to a baby blue, but I'll have to go searching for the baby blue. So let's try this with the white thread. We're going to lock in our stitch. We're going to start on the bottom of the journal on the outside, but I'm attempting to sew both of them at the same time. So we're going to go slow. We've got the zigzag stitch on. We're going to sew to that end. And I want it on the outside corner. So needle down, foot up, pivot. Now the tricky part, we're going to fold in half both the front and the back of the lace to pull it forward. Keep it right on that edge. Give it a little fold with an extra little bit of ribbon. And we're going to foot down and zigzag stitch up here. And then needle down in the outside corner. We're going to pull it up, pivot, and do the same thing here. Now this one looks like it torqued a little bit. It's a little too tight. Not happy with that. So let's definitely try and make this one a little bit looser. We've got the foot up. We're going to pull over some extra ribbon or lace on the bottom. Try and push that back for a little buckle. And then let's do the top. A little bit of extra lace as well. Might just slit that side so it doesn't. We're going to see what that looks. It still feels like it's going to pull. So let me take that completely off. Pop it down. It still feels like it's going to pull. So we're going to take a look, see if we'll do the other ones. Well, this is similar or different. And I'm trying to keep that center line, if you can see this right here. I'm trying to keep that center line right under the sewing machine on both the top and the bottom to keep that covered and looking nice. Same amount on the top, same amount on the bottom. And not using needles or clips. You could use some binder clips for this. I'm going to sew this one back, needle down off the corner in the back. Let's take a look there and see if I can somehow get these a little bit looser in this corner by pre-turning them. Holding that up and the underneath as well. Pushing that back up to the top. All right, let's see how that did. I've got to come over to the side. I'm going to manhandle this side. Now we're going to come down. And what I did was kind of freehand stitch sideways when the needle wanted to come down. I was torquing it just enough to where I would have to go to this side. Okay, now we're going to try that same thing on this corner. And we're going to take this lace about a 1/2 inch past where we put the starting so it overlaps itself. Let's turn the underneath. Come on, last corner, we've got this. Okay, did a little bit better there, still not. Oh, that second corner was almost perfect. Okay. We're going to freehand it sideways. Make sure our lace is lined up. We go ahead and trim that on the bottom. Sorry about that on the camera. Kind of close corners. Using my paper scissors, shouldn't be doing that. Okay. All right, let's come forward. I really love that baby blue look with the buy airmail and the blue stamps. That this would work. Make sure I got that locked in stitch. Pull it forward. And let's trim up those threads. Take a look and see what we've done here. Okay, so I have the blue all around it. That corner is pretty much out of sync. Might do a little trim on the corners just to make that lay flatter. Okay, so we have the second book cover set. Now, if I really wasn't happy with it, we could take that lace over and do a do-over, but I think that's nice. Okay, my friends, before I change the thread in my sewing machine, I wanted to go ahead and use white on these because no matter what color they are, they do have the white background. And remember, these are the pages that we made to have the pockets. So they'll be in with the rest of the signature and bound on this part. But I need to sew over here to sew up that pocket to make that pocket complete. So we're going to go ahead and sew a few of these up, or all of these up, so you can see a few of them and how I do that. And we'll come back over to the sewing machine. We just open it up flat. We're turning our sewing machine back to a straight stitch, width 0, length 2, straight stitch, and white thread in. And we just want to be, oh, let me go longer. We're going to go up to 3. And I'm just going to go ahead and chain these up. Okay, maybe I can't chain these up because I don't want to sew over this part, only on the down part where the pocket is. So this will be a little bit longer. But you see how we do this. Looks like I need a better pair of scissors for my thread even. So we're sewing up that pocket so that it can hold anything we want to put in there. And, maybe I even want a little bit of lace or something on the outside there. I'm feeling that. Let's do that. And just like we do on the larger journals, I'm going to put some lace on the side of that pocket and up the back side to hide that stitching. So let's see how we can do that. So I'm just going to hold it there, not going to clip it or pin it. And we'll hold it on either side. Pull that right up under the needle. Needle down on top of it and sew it off. Back stitch. And sew it right off. Okay. So with this one, pull it out so we can take a closer look. And we have a beautiful, absolutely beautiful, just like it was a large junk journal with that ribbon. We'll cut the threads. I'm loving it. And that's going to be like a bookmark sticking out of the page, the book as well. That's exciting. Okay, let's do more. And we're back to the drawing board on what is going to work. But I have 3 ribbons. The green is really a little bit too big, rickrack, and the red dot's probably perfect. But again, it's matching it to what page, what looks good. So we'll go ahead and start sewing some on. And we'll sew on a red dot first. These are tiny pages. I'm just going to pull that up and out and start our next one. And just kind of let them fall behind like they're going to. Let's put a red dot on a pink one. That makes it stand out kind of bold. Pull that down. Pop it in. Pull this one out and show you. Cut off some of those threads. We'll have to do the rest. But we have our pocket. We've sewn up the other side with no ribbon on it, so it's just a stitch. Probably put some washi tape on top of that just to perk it up. But I'm okay with the red. That looks good. And by the way, when you do a junk journal, you want good feelies. And that's a good feelie. That's a nice silky ribbon. That feels good. And it helps sometimes to go ahead and cut several pieces. That way you can be much quicker with the sewing machine. So there we go, and let's start. Gonna put some rickrack on this one. And we want to have it right on the edge. But we like it going off just a little bit, because it works as a page mark as well as textural decoration. Pull that up. Go on to the next one. Let's put some green on this one. Hope you're seeing what I'm doing here. And we want the green to be a little bit off the page. But we want to make sure our sewing is on the page. I'm doing one side at a time, and that way I can do several of them, and then we'll come back and do the other half of the page, the other pocket. Whoopsie. Just wanting to pull for something. Just setting these aside, going through a few at the same time. I like that green on this beige color. Looks really nice. And up your needle, pull it to the side, grab your next one, and the yellow rickrack. Pop your page upside down. Make sure you're sewing on the rickrack on both sides. Needle up, pull it to the side. Now there's green on green, I'm not sure. I think I like the green better on the beige. And just keep going on all of your pocket pages, and we'll get all of the pocket pages kicked out at once. And we are making beautiful pockets. Okay, so let's mix this up and use some of the blues to go around another journal cover. Oh, and I did not show you the pages that I finished. Haven't stuffed them into a journal, but I did want to show you these beautiful page pockets that I put all the lace on. And so we're going to be stuffing those momentarily. But let's go ahead and finish another outside binding on or ribbon and lace around the outside cover of another journal. That really seems to be shrinking that a bit. But we've got the lace on the inside. Technically, we can change that around if we don't like it. But we've got the lace on the inside, the soft ribbon on the outside. We're going to bring that up here, put our foot down. See how it's really smashing down. Zigzag stitches really holding it down. Didn't expect it to do that much. Let's bring it around here. Push our ribbon down so it doesn't get too taut. I think it still feels pretty nice. I like that though. More like a sleep with journal than a travel journal. But those textures and feelies are very, very important on our mixed media junk journals. Because again, they have to be appealing to the eye as well as to the touch to inspire that art or that journal, that diary that it's going to hold. Whoa! For a little ride there. Okay. Needle down. Going around the second to the last corner. Hope you can see that in there. Pushing up our ribbon. I've got a couple of more junk journals to put the binding on because we were working on 6 or 7 of these. Go on the outside down, pivot. We're going to trim it off about a 1/2 inch past our ending point. I like to have a little overlap there. Okay, and that's locked down. So hopefully we're seeing that. Let's go ahead and pull it out of here, trim off that thread and take a closer look. And we have another journal. And we have, I don't know, I'm really liking that too. Wish the blues matched a little bit better. But I do like the different textures. That's nice. All right. And on to our next. Okay, and we have our pages or our signatures. And I've got all of these pocket pieces. Let's go ahead and mix those in for us right now and get that going. And looks, rough guess, let's put about 2 into each. So we're going to pull it and put them sporadically throughout the junk journal. So you can see, let's grab a green one, or a green ribbon on the side. Okay, and that's the first signature. Let's grab another signature. Let's go for a green page. Do we want it on the outside? Nah, probably not. Let's put it, let's just say 1 page in, shall we? Well, looks like 2 pages in works for me. Pop that in. I like the green against the green. Let's go back here. Put one with a yellow rickrack on it. We've got our second signature. Let's grab another one. And do we want one on the out. I don't like the white on the outside. What's wrong with me? I don't know. And then let's put it next to that. That sounds good. And let's do a yellow rickrack. And we've got that one done. Let's pull another one out. Don't fall. And let's put the green one over here with the lace. I like the lace. I like the lace. And, uh-oh. Oh, that's our center page. Let's put a pink one in here. So we have the pink next to the doily part there. And we've got 2 more to go, and looks like more than that in our pockets, pages with pockets. And right here, we're gonna put a green one, open it up a little bit, put a yellow rickrack. And I'm seeing that we're gonna have extra, so let's do one more. Let's do this one. So we've got some different textures in there. So we've got that one done. Let's throw these back up top, shall we? Let them sit right there. And this one. Oops, those words are upside down. Not sure that I care. Let's put them right side up. We're going to write on top. Both of them are. Maybe the whole book is upside down. Let's try this. The whole book was upside down. That's perfect. Not that it mattered till we get our pockets in. Yellow rickrack. A green one. Oh, look, I've got 2 more. I love it. Okay. So that 2 booklets had 3 in them. And this last one, did we already? Oh, yes, we already did. We already put 2 in there. So let's put 1 more. And then let's grab, how many did we put in this one? Probably only 2. Let's put a 3rd. Oops. And I've got a yellow rickrack in that already. Do they all have yellow rickrack? Yellow rickrack, yellow rickrack. Oh, no yellow rickrack. Now it's going to have yellow rickrack. Sweet. 1. See if I didn't cut these in half. Feels like I cut 1 in half. 4, 5, I cut 1 in half. What'd I do? Okay, so we have our 6 signatures. And now let's put them in the junk journal. Well, I am just sitting here admiring these, and I wanted you to as well. So these are 2 junk journals out of the 6 or 7 that I'm making. And those pages just look absolutely yummy. The pockets are looking great. Such a nice variety of different kind of magazine pockets, pages, book pages, and new scrapbooking pages. So let's go ahead and bind these. And since we've used the blue ribbon, I want to go ahead and use the blue for binding the signatures in these books. And we're going to start by getting out our crocodile, which is a beautiful machine to use to punch the holes in. So we're going to go ahead and put 2 holes in each of the different signatures so we can then bind them into the book. And I'm using the smallest hole. Ooh, what a punch. And coming around to the other side, and we're making that punch. And we're going to go ahead and grab our binder clips and bind the sides just to make it easier for the needle and the twine to go through the pages to bind them. And we're going to go ahead and do 1 full book at a time. So I'm taking the other 2. I have the first one with the clips and the punched holes in there. And I'm going to take the other 2 signatures and do the same. So I'm putting the clips on either side, folding it over. Whoopsie. We're measuring when we come in and do the binding. I have it on each side so that we can have the same measuring on each. Let me double check I've got my numbers correct. Okay, so on the bottom, we are making our hole in our second signature. And our hole in the top signature, right where it bends. Let's go ahead and clip our third signature. Oopsie. And just using these miniature binder clips. For the bigger books, absolutely you need the big clips. The little ones, this actually seems to work perfect. Top, measuring it. It's nice that on this crocodile, there's a ruler. There's numbers, if you can see it, right on the bottom, so that we can measure. Because we want to be somewhat accurate, because we're going to punch the book separately. You could do it together, but it seemed to me to get very cumbersome. So we're just using our measurement, and we're going to put our 3 bindings about the same. So we're going to do 3 separate sets of 2 holes here in our journal. And this is the top because the words go up. And so from our top, we're doing 3 holes across. Make sure we look good there. Let me come up a little bit more. Where's my math? Where's my math? We've got a 1/4 inch on either side. So we're going to come, there's where we punched it. So we want to come down another 1/4 inch. Okay. 1, 2, and 3 for that binding. And up from the bottom, come in another 1/4 inch. Somehow that doesn't seem right. And 3. Okay, so let's go ahead and start our combining these in. I'm going to keep the clips in until we have it sewn in. So we're going to use our very large needle for our, I believe we call this floss. It's the old stuff is 6 strands, and that's what I have. I'm sure I picked this up at a yard sale or something for the floss. And we're going to use 3.5 times the width, 2 and 3. Come down half and trim it off. Okay, and let's go ahead and start binding the book. Make sure she looks right, lined up the holes. My holes are actually lined up. That's crazy. Okay. And we want to bring it back into the center, so let's go through the top and out and back in, only taking half of the thread, and oops, there are pieces on top. Thread back into the bottom, through our hole.